Let's practice the sounds of
つ
and
す
repeat after the audio.
つつつすすす
Remember that when we are saying
す
the tongue does not touch the alveolar ridge, but when we are saying
つ
it touches the alveolar ridge because the sound starts with a t and ends with a s. As we saw in the instruction video, in order to make the
つ
sound, you start from
cats
and add
う
at the end and make a syllable. It should sound like
キャッツ
this is the sound of Japanese.
つ
Let's move on to practice. Repeat after the audio again.
つつつすすす
Now let's practice the sounds in words. Listen to the words and repeat after the audio.
好き好き好き好き
Let's practice some more words.
バスバツバスバツうすうつうすうつすみれつみれすみれつみれ
This week's phrase is Jijalegi. Jijalegi, which means I am Cherokee.
Greetings. Zaharamahue, Zaharakebihue, Zaharakebehue, Makiransohue.
Okay, now let's talk about seen. We've seen before. Now I want to talk a little bit more about seen. So seen, if you've heard it in like phrases like tonansin, nonansin, motatsin, etc. So it's used to show respect or reverence. And so if you respect like your friend, you respect your mom, you respect Mother Earth, you respect something, one thing or another, you're going to add seen to it. So it can be for people, but it can also be added to objects, okay? And you can use it in names. And you'll see later, I'm not going to give you that much detail in this lesson. I'm going to talk about it in the next lesson, but you can use it to make the diminutive, meaning the small form of something. So if you have a book, you could also say, you could add seen to it to make it a little book. But I'll give you more details because there's more than that. Okay. All right, so you've seen it in phrases like nonansin, my mother, notatsin, my father, tonansin, literally our mother, but that's one of the words that they use for Mother Earth. So you notice these are people who you respect, or Mother Earth, which we respect, etc. Right? Okay, quali. So essentially, the sin suffix, you're gonna treat it. You can add it to practically any noun, so any person, place, or thing. So koskak can become, okay, so what you're gonna do for any of those nouns, you remember they have those specific endings. You're gonna remove the absolutive ending, which is that last part, you're gonna remove it, and then you're gonna add the tsin. So koskat becomes koskatsin, kali becomes kalsin, amoshli becomes amoshsin, and michi becomes michitsin. And the reason that there's this I right here is because michsin sounds kind of weird, so I tends to be the letter that Nahuatl speakers will put insert in order to make something sound flow better. So michsin sounds kind of weird, so they say michitsin. Okay, so you're probably thinking like, why would anyone want to say koskatsin or kaltsin or amoshsin? Well, there are certain situations where you want to respect another person's objects. So like if I'm talking about my friend's book or my friend's house, and I want to like talk respectfully about that person, even though it's you're not respectfully addressing them, you might respectfully address their things. And so that's one of the reasons why you would use a noun like this and add seen to it. There are certain nouns, if you remember, that don't have that ending of these typical endings. So like chichi, which was dog, remember? So chichitzin would be the reverential form, and caballo, horse, would be caballotzin.
Chawarmishki, ese como es purito, sirve para los huesos, para gastritis, para próstata, para más es para la próstata y para el gastritis, así están ocupando ahora bastante.
Se saca de este penco.
Sí, de este penco sacamos y vendemos y de aquí lleva.
Ustedes entendemos que se están reuniendo con el propósito de hacer otros productos también para vender.
Mermeladas,
¿Ya?
mermeladas estamos haciendo, ya comenzamos a hacer mermelada de uva, de uvilla y de purito así, chawarmishki estamos ya haciendo ya.
Esta
Ya
es una bebida ancestral de ustedes del pueblo
Sí.
Salasaca.
Sí, antes, ya, o sea, nosotros toda la vida hemos ocupado porque antes no había azúcar.
¿Ya?
No había azúcar y solo nuestros abuelos así nos daba el chawarmishki, nos cocinaba y nos daba siempre todo.
Ok, estoy con mis maestros de tzotzil. Ok.
Coseabil.
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 Coseabil. Coseabil.
Coseabil. Coseabil.
Dame esto, dinero.
¿Qué significa coseabil?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? Coseabil. ¿Qué más? ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué?
¿Dónde vives?
¿Cómo?
Binacalot. Binacalot.
Despacio.
Binacalot.
¿Cómo?
Bunacalot.
Bunacalot.
¿Dónde es tu casa?
Bunacalot quiere
¿Dónde
decir
vives?
¿dónde está tu casa? Bunacalot.
¿Dónde es tu casa? ¿Dónde es tu casa? ¿Dónde vives?
En California.
Carro. Mira, carro.
¿Ya vino?
¿No?
¿Cómo se dice carro?
Micro.
Micro.
Es carro.
Carro es carro.
Dame tu sencillo, voy a traer jumbo.
¿Qué más? ¿Cómo?
Trae jumbo. Dame tu billete. Dame tu billete.
K.
Caracol.
¿Qué es eso?
Es caballo. Es
K.
caballo.
K es caballo.
Sí.
Ca-
Burra. Burra.
Burra. ¿Cómo se dice burra?
Burrita. Burro.
Así.
Burra y burro.
Burra y burro. ¿Cómo se dice? Vamos a la escuela.
Chivata escuela. Chivata escuela. Batita escuela.
¿Chivata?
Chivata escuela.
Chijibata escuela. Chijibata.
Chivata escuela.
Chijibata escuela.
Dale, chihocha. Ya vamos a entrar.
¿Cómo vamos a entrar?
En
¿Cómo?
la escuela, en el salón. Dame tu agua.
Tiene aire.